Hey, we got a lot of free agents that are still unsigned. All camps will start to kick in about July 17th. Chargers start on the 18th with the rookies. The 25th, everybody comes in. Rams, everybody shows up on July 25th. Last 2 weeks of July, that's when camps kick into gear. Let's talk about some of the names that are listed here. DeAndre Hopkins has not found a team to sign him yet. It's a salary cap issue. Nobody's got the kind of money that he's asking. He's asking for something like $15 million. I don't think he's going to get that. He might get 10 with incentives if he has a spectacular season. New England has met with him twice, but they don't have a lot of cap space. The latest is Carolina. The Carolina Panthers, who have a ton of cap space and are looking for name veterans to come in to complement the kid quarterbacks, might wind up getting him, but that doesn't put him in a place to go play in a Super Bowl. So I don't know whether he waits a little bit longer or whether or not he dives in, because anywhere he goes now, he's walking into a brand new playbook, and that takes time to get acclimated to. So DeAndre Hopkins, I think, within this next week, is probably going to wind up making a commitment somewhere. I heard New England was back in the mix again, but again, maybe the lure of playing for Belichick's got something to do with it. But he's not going to get $15 million a year in New England because Belichick historically just doesn't put money value on players. He likes the guys, but he's not going to overpay them. Unless it's an old guy in a one-year rental, the Randy Moss of the world, it's not going to happen. So you got that situation. Dalvin Cook has had a great career in Minnesota. He's out on the street right now as a free agent. He's been offered a contract in Miami. He's been offered a contract by the New York Jets. Problem is he made $10.6 million in Minnesota. They cut him loose. He's had 2 surgeries, but yet he's still been really productive. I was told anywhere he goes, he's going to take a pay cut to 6. People are not paying running backs, outside of Christian McCaffrey's a unique exception, are just not paying running backs mega money. So the question is, where does Dalvin Cook wind up? I think probably Miami. 2 very unhappy running backs. Josh Jacobs, Raiders, is now talking about sitting out the start of the season. This would be catastrophic to Las Vegas. He's a franchise tag running back that gets him $10 million, but it gives him no security against injuries, no contract down road, no signing bonus. Same thing with Saquon Barkley. Jacobs has had one spectacular year. Barkley's had a couple of good years sandwiched around major reconstructive knee surgery, but the guy showed coming back from the surgery how good he could be. Barkley's talking about, I'll sit the whole season. And I think that's a stupid statement, because why do you want to set up these barriers and create all this animosity in New York? You think there's a few Giant fans in New York? Holy cow. Why would you create that animosity? And secondly, dummy, if you sit out a year, that free agent year you had to play out tolls to the next season. They'd still own your rights for next season, and they could still franchise tag you. The last idiot that did this was Le'Veon Bell, who had good years in Pittsburgh and got involved in a contract dispute, sat out, moved on, went to the Jets, moved to other places, never, ever the same running back. He's out of football. So don't start talking about, I'll hold out. Don't screw yourself. Get the deal done. And if they're saying 10 mil is it, you have to bet on yourself. Take the 10 mil and you put it into the contract. You can't franchise tag me next year. Now there's risk. You play on the 10 mil and get hurt, your bargaining power goes away. There has to be some middle ground here. Jacobs' storyline with the Raiders is different. He didn't play well early, had an unbelievable season last year, but he's a one-year wonder. And you're going to commit 3 years? I wouldn't go farther than 3 for any of these running backs just because of the injury factor. And don't say something stupid. I'm going to sit out the year, because that doesn't help you. It surely kills the team. And I'll guarantee you, it's going to turn the community against you.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we talk about, how a contract is a contract, right? And so you got to fulfill that deal. Granted, yeah, you want leverage, you want to negotiate. But imagine if the Raiders don't have Jacobs and then they don't have Garoppolo either, right?
Well, we think he'll be there sometime before the start of the season, but he has a history of getting hurt. And, they ran Derek Carr out of there. So the Raiders are going to be left with Devontae Adams against the world. That's the extent of their offense.
Yeah.
They traded Darren Waller, the tight end, away. Raiders have just got a real set of problems with how they've conducted their business with their veteran players. So
What about DeAndre Hopkins? I mean, if you were to look at all the wide receivers in the league, do you think he's a top 10 receiver?
I think he's somewhere between 5 and 10.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he had 3 straight 100-catch seasons. I mean, he really played well in Houston, but then he got dinged. Last 2 years, I think he's had 42 and 64 receptions in Arizona. Let him walk and took a cap hit.
Wow.
That's what Arizona thought of him. They wanted to get away from him. Could he play? Sure. But he's not a $15 million wide receiver anymore. If he were coming off a 100-catch season with 12 touchdowns and 19 yards per catch, yeah, you could say 15 mil. But right now, no. And he's just about to go the other side of 30. So I think the contract request is crazy. I'll be intrigued to see where he goes. Everybody could say, geez, I'd love to play with Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen. But the reality is Kansas City, Buffalo, whom he mentioned, don't have any cap space.
Yeah.
So that's where we are with him. Okay, let's move on.